Welcome to 15 Minutes of Pharma. My name is Pereira, Cruz, and my partner in these conversations is Manuel Fernandes. Well, today we're going to take a break from the range of topics we've been discussing because I asked Manuel to talk about an article he wrote on LinkedIn. So the name of the article is EBITDA, It's Not the Story, How CDMO Value is Built or Destroyed on the Shop Floor. So, Manuel, in your article, you say that EBITDA is not the story, but the result. So, what do you mean by that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Carlos, that's that question is really at the core of the argument that we try to discuss in the article, and well, in fact, EBITDA should not be the focal point when we are talking about the value of CDMO of any other company whatsoever. Because EBITDA is a result is a result of many operational indicators that have to be managed and controlled so that and all those factors considered together, they do result in an EBITDA. So if you want to increase the value of your company, if you want to increase the EBITDA, you have to look into your operation, how your operation is organized, how your production is being managed, and is by focusing on the several aspects of your operation and try to improve each one of those parameters, that you will have a final result, an improved EBITDA, and obviously as a consequence you will be increasing the value of your company.
Yeah. Well, when you mention the consequence, yeah, it's for me it's like a cue for showing this. So. Manuel, while reading your article, so you reminded me this book. So I read some years ago from John Kay, a British economist, where he argues that that many important goals are best achieved indirectly, not by pursuing them head-on. So, and it seems that EBITDA seems to fit this type of goal. Don't you agree?
I agree, Carlos, absolutely. And curiously enough, I know that book and I read it many years ago. It is a very, very good written piece and very inspirational as well. And I think it really fits in the discussion that we are having here. Yeah, I absolutely agree that EBITDA should be looked as a lagging indicator. It tells us about something that happened, about something that is in the past, but and of course it doesn't explain what happened by itself, but it raises deeper management questions. Which can be, how do we improve the EBITDA, or better, what kind of operating system should I deploy so that my EBITDA is credible and repeatable and resilient, and that consistently delivers the results that we want to achieve. So EBITDA in isolation has very little, informative power. When you look a little bit further, a little bit down, when you drill down, you start seeing what really is beneath the EBITDA, and how and when and where do you have to act, so that you can have a coherent operation, a coherent, optimized operation, and as a result, an EBITDA, a higher EBITDA.
Okay. Yeah. So, Manuel, now going into other issues in your article, so one of the things that I see there on one of the ideas, and it resonates also with some experience that I have, not so much with CDMOs, but other kinds of companies, almost any company. So one of the strongest ideas in the article is that a busy factory is not necessarily a productive one. So why is that distinction so important?
Yeah, that is very, very important, Carlos. And well, it really is dangerous. It's a dangerous illusion that having a factory, 100% full, you will have, you will be adding or to reach the economic or the EBITDA or the economic result that you are aiming. Because you can have a factory full 100%, and people can be overloaded. Obviously, you can see your revenues growing, and but still you can have the system maybe allocating scarce capacity to the wrong work. This is why I often say that a busy factory is not necessarily a productive one. And well, and being productive, it depends on how you define productivity. It's not necessarily a value creating factory. You can be productive, you can be producing items and capsules, X kilograms of your API, but at the same time, and you can do that very efficiently, but obviously at the same time you may be destroying value. So it's a difference between efficiency and efficacy somehow, I guess.
Yeah. So one thing is activity, and another thing is margin or So sure. why can a full plant be misleading?
Yeah, most of the times, you can have your factory busy, full, but with fragmented campaigns, which imply excessive changeovers or excessive setups in the manufacturing lines or in your equipment trains. You can have small and difficult batches that require lots of management and technical and eventually even R&D attention for the value or for the price that you agreed with the client that he should be paying you. And so you may even have urgent customer requests, a customer that is always changing its forecast or changing its requests. So I would say that because of all these factors, high utilization can absolutely hide poor economic quality. And and well, I would say that more volume per se can really make the organization weaker rather than stronger, because because it consumes flexibility, management attention, and most importantly, future optionality without generating proportional value.
Yeah. So you mentioned their volume. So for more than 20 years, I've been using a saying that is that I read somewhere, and I find it very, very useful for starting discussions in companies. So volume is vanity, and profit is sanity, and I think it applies very well to your article. So why can revenue growth be dangerous for an organization? So that doesn't understand this kind of you were mentioning the quality of that revenue. Yeah,
that's absolutely, Carlos. That's a very coherent and eloquent way of putting it. You can have a company can have rising revenues, positive EBITDA, and still be underperforming structurally. and the reason I would say that is it's relatively simple. Revenue is not neutral, and obviously not all revenue has the same economic quality, because some growth, if your objective is to put your company growing, if this is your single and most important objective, this may come most of the times at the expense of stable execution. You may accept businesses with low contribution margins, or even sometimes with negative contribution margins, and well, you may not be using your capacity in a healthy fashion. So sometimes this growth comes with weak pricing, with hidden complexity. In the case of pharma CDMOs, or API CDMOs, with more analytical burden, more changeovers, rework. Sometimes when the process, or when the technical specifications or the manufacturing process is not precisely defined, or when the tech transfer was not detailed enough. This can imply then, when you move into the industrial plant, with more rework, more errors, more rework, which means more working capital pressure and more instability, in the system. So, volume, most of the times can hide bad margins.
Bad margins.
So, if you want to grow, you have to grow with discipline. You should not, you should not lower your standards. On the contrary.
Sure. Manuel, this reminds me another saying that. So this one I read in a book. I think I know the name of the author is Terry Hill, in a book about manufacturing strategy, or strategy in operations, something like that. So, but I read that saying. I think it was in 2008, because of an article that I published at the time, that says something like, the most important orders are the ones to which a company says no. So, and I think it resonates with your article and what you were saying. So, yeah, it's like customers. Okay, yes, they have the last word. So they sign the order, but the supplier, the CDMO, must have the first word.
For sure. I fully agree with that. Most of the times, or sometimes, that type of business, of orders, commercially they can look attractive, but at the end of the day, when you look into the economic, when you look into those orders with an economic lens, they can be destructive. Some customers, they will bring revenue, but they also will bring urgency, instability, repeated, change requests, maybe even in terms of documentation, which is very important in pharma. They can bring, a disproportionate burden in terms of documentation. They may want you to, to deliver or to fulfill their orders in short lead time, in a short period of time.
Manuel, short lead times for me is when a company is not prepared for that. So it's another word that you use in an article, firefighting.
Yeah, true.
Firefighting is the plate of the day.
True. Yeah, true. So you have to be very disciplined, and you have to agree to have to work on the. You have to be very clear on what type of customers and what type of project you really want in your portfolio. So, and you have to be courageous enough to say no to something, to a client or an order that doesn't really fit your your not only your industrial setup, but your capability and your organization as well. So you don't want your orders, your clients to completely disrupt your operation. Otherwise, obviously, you will be losing money, you will be losing efficacy, and obviously, money and competitiveness at the end of the day.
Yeah. Now, Manuel, I have a surprise for you. Okay, you are not expecting this, but I think you know this. So I will show you now a picture of. I think it was also around 2010. I was starting to study a lot of the Nordic School of Marketing and fantastic authors. And one of the authors that I read everything that I could about from him or by him. It was, I think it's from Finland, Kat Storbacka. And he spoke about what he called the Stovakov curve, but I think many call and this more easily known by the whale curve. Okay. So I think, so I have this picture here about the whale curve. So how does the whale curve help explain, let's say, hidden profitability? Hidden profitability.
Well, I think that the whale curve that you just described, I think that it's a very handy and useful model to somehow to illustrate the main point of the or one of the main points of the article. And one of the main takeaways that we can have from the whale curve is that the average customer does not really exist, and this means that as soon as you rank your customers by profitability and you plot the cumulative, the total profit. So if you add the profit that each of your customers really brings, and you continuously be adding it, you often see something that is very that is striking, I might say. And this is that in reality, a minority of customers, they do really create more than 100% of the total profit, while another part of the customer base really destroys some of that profit. So, in other words, is a little bit as you will have a situation in a part of your customers is subsidizing another part of your customers. So, and I would say that in a CDMO environment, this is extremely relevant because the factory may look like one business from an outside perspective, but in reality, it often contains, several, smaller businesses, maybe micro businesses with very different economics. So some programs are profit islands, and some are red ink. Some help build capability, and some destroy focus. Some use capacity intelligently, and others just keep the factory busy.
So you mentioned there the profit island, and then that reminds me of another book that I read some years ago, where the author said something like, about 40% of the business is not making money. So and then 20 to 30% of the business makes a lot of money, and as you said, is cross subsidizing. So the name of the author was, I think it was from Harvard, Jonathan Burns. Okay, and this makes me ask you another question. What is failing in our information systems, in companies' information systems for decision making to allow this to happen? So why companies don't see that they are losing a lot of money with a group of customers, And so, why?
I would say, based on my experience, obviously, but it depends on the organization. But I would say that many companies are looking to profitability in an aggregate way, and that is obviously dangerous, just because because of what we have just been discussing so far. And well, the income statement, when you look into the income statement, this gives you a total figure. But I would say that it's obviously very important to have for CDMOs to have a practical cost accounting or industrial cost accounting system that can be embedded or incorporated in the decision making process when we are discussing and deciding if we really want this customer, if we really want this project or not. And sometimes those discussions or those decisions are not I would say totally informed by by what really costs, by what that customer, by what that production will really cost on the to the organization, on the shop floor, and for the organization. So I would say that it would be a good practice for taking decisions on which projects, which customers, which orders we would be accepting, to have an internal forum like a sales, operations, and planning meeting, well, where the various aspects and angles of a client or a project are considered, and obviously the economic one, the cost associated, is very important. And this is really what I think that most of the times is missing in this decision making process at CDMOs. Clarity about costs and well balanced incentives between commercial operations and planning and manufacturing, so that everybody is somehow exposed to the quality of the decisions that are taking in terms of portfolio.
Okay, so and I think that in those meetings, most of the time they can be very not peaceful, because you mentioned the word incentives, okay, and different incentives. So
some go ahead, Carlos. Sorry.
No, I thought thinking that in some companies, so for example, it doesn't matter if you win money with a particular order. If you got the order, you got the bonus, okay? And
absolutely.
If the company has a problem, it's not my problem. My business is to find orders, not to be responsible for the
absolutely
something like that.
Long-term incentives are not adequately or aligned with each of the functions that have to take a decision, portfolio decisions or project decisions. As you rightly said, commercials most of the time are rewarded or incentivized only considering the volume of sales that they reach. So they are not exposed to margins or to the or even to EBITDA or to the quality of the revenues that they bring. So.
And so, Manuel, and do you think that when we see chronic firefighting, it can be a kind of a symptom of something it's going in the wrong way regarding the kind of customers that we are, or the kind of the revenue that we are getting?
Yeah, sure. I would say, Carlos, that some level of firefighting is, I would say, normal.
Okay.
there are sometimes some occasions that something unexpected happens, and you have to solve the problem in the in the spot. But firefighting becomes dangerous when it stops being exceptional and becomes normal, the normal way you manage things, you live by. And in many operations, in many companies, heroism, the hero, the single one person that can solve everything, is admired and compensated, and sometimes is the kind of profile that gets promoted. So the people who save the batch, who solve the urgent problem, who can manage to recover that delay and satisfy the customer, and of course that is good. The problem is solved on the spot. But I would say that there is a deeper question around it. Why does the organization need so much heroism just to perform normally? So firefighting, continuous firefighting, is a symptom that something is not right in the organization, that something needs to be changed, that the systems are in its infancy or even inexistent. So that's the way I see firefighting. Sometimes it happens. You have to deal with unexpected things, but when the exceptional becomes normal, something is deeply flawed or deeply wrong in the organization.
Okay. Well, we need to look at the time. So, Manuel, if you had to summarize all of these in one idea, what will be your saying?
Well, I would say that, and looking into CDMOs, but obviously this is relevant to industry as more widely considered. I would say that value is not built primarily in the spreadsheet. Rather, it's built in what the factory chooses to produce, how projects are controlled after quotation, and whether the operating system really creates stability or noise. So EBITDA is not really the story. It's the lagging indicator, as we just said in the beginning. It's a lagging expression of thousands of operational decisions. And I think that those are the main ideas that I would like to offer regarding EBITDA.
Okay. Yeah. So, Manuel, thank you. And thank you to all of you for listening to 15 Minutes of Pharma. So in this episode, we explored why it's important for a CDMO to choose its customers and to align strategy and commercial activity. See you in the next episode. Thank you, Manuel.
Thank you, Carlos. It was a pleasure. And thank you all.